Everyone in the courtroom seemed curious, awaiting the verdict on who the real father of Kamsi's 1-month-old baby was. Kamsi stood tensely, her eyes fixed on the floor. She had deceived her fiancé, Kenneth, with a web of lies. Kenneth's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched. Discovering Kamsi's secrets, 2 hidden children and a previous marriage had eroded his trust. He had filed for a paternity court case to determine if he was the biological father of Kamsi's baby. The judge, a middle-aged Nigerian woman in her early 50s, wearing spectacles, walked into the courtroom. She took her seat and began the proceedings. "Kenneth, you've brought Kamsi to court, alleging she's a liar and a cheat. Is that true?" the judge asked. Kenneth's voice trembled. "Yes, Your Honor. Kamsi had secretly hidden a guy in her mother's room." The courtroom murmured, shocked by Kenneth's words. Kenneth continued, "She's lied to me about a lot, and I think she's used me." The judge turned to Kamsi. "Kamsi, what do you say about this?" Kamsi stuttered, I hid the guy because he gets angry easily, and I didn't want to start a fight." The judge looked at her skeptically. "I'd like to know the nature of this relationship. Where did you meet?" Kamsi replied, "I met him through a family member." Kenneth's voice rose. "After a one-night stand in a club, she was crying, and we talked. That's how we started." The judge asked, "So, you met her after she finished having a one-night stand with another guy and was crying, and you comforted her? Is that what you're saying, Kenneth?" Kenneth replied with a simple smile, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge asked, "Kenneth, you said you saw her hide a man. Where was that?" Kenneth replied, "In her mother's bedroom. She pretended he was her friend while he was hitting her." The judge asked, "So, at that time, were you two still engaged or broken up?" Kenneth replied, "We were still engaged, Your Honor." The judge asked Kamsi, "Is that true? You were still engaged when this happened?" Kamsi replied, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge pressed, "So, why did you have to hide the other guy if nothing was going on?" Kamsi was lost for words. Kenneth added, "She was already married, which I didn't know about at the time we were engaged." The judge shook her head in disbelief. The courtroom murmured again. The judge asked, "So, you were married to another man while engaged to Kenneth?" Kamsi said, "Yes, Your Honor." The courtroom fell silent, processing the revelations. Kenneth said, tears streaming down his eyes, "Your Honor, I feel I've been deceived and taken advantage of by Kamsi." The judge took a deep breath. "Kamsi, is Lily your only child?" Kenneth quickly responded, "No, Your Honor. She hid that too from me." The judge asked, "She hid her marriage, her children, and the man in her mother's bedroom. Is that correct, Kenneth?" Kenneth replied, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge continued, "Mr. Kenneth, take me back to when she told you she was pregnant." Kenneth replied, "She told me she was pregnant when she was 8 months gone into the pregnancy." The judge exclaimed, 8 months? Kenneth continued, "I kept texting her to know about her appointment with the doctor, and she kept telling me it's going well and all. Not knowing she had already given birth to Lily." The judge asked, "Given birth, did you have any proof of the text messages if she was telling you that?" Kenneth replied, "Yes, Your Honor. Here it is." Kenneth gave the judge a file. The judge took time to read the text messages aloud to the court. Then asked, "When did she give birth?" Kenneth replied, 4 days prior to this day. She gave birth on July 23, and we texted on July 27. The judge went blank for a minute, trying to understand why Kamsi had told so many lies. She turned to Kamsi, "Why the unnecessary lies, Kamsi? I have heard 5 lies you told, and none of them were true about you. What's going on with you?" Kamsi replied, "I just didn't want to break my marriage at the time, and I wanted to be sure it's his before telling him. And yet, my husband and I have broken up." The judge asked, "So, Ms. Kamsi, are you sure Mr. Kenneth is the father?" Kamsi replied, "I am sure now, he is the father, Your Honor." The judge said, "Okay, there's only one way we can be certain about this. I call for the DNA results." The DNA results were handed over to the judge. The judge took a deep breath and announced, "In the case of Ms. Kamsi and Mr. Kenneth, it has been determined by this court that Mr. Kenneth, you are the father." Tears rolled down Kenneth's eyes. He felt relieved that he was the father. He hugged his mom, who was present in the courtroom. As they both thought of building a future with Lily, they smiled.